So it's been a while since I've actually made one of these types of videos, but other than that, what's going on, cryptids? My name is Mississippi Gonzo Grunge, aka RedCorn. Man, how you doing today on Valentine's Day? To anybody new, how you doing? Maybe you've come here to learn something, or maybe laugh at some of the funny stories that I'm going to tell about Valentine's Day, or maybe you just want to voice some opinion. Do keep it clean in the comments about, Valentine's Day. But, for me, I've always found Valentine's Day to be rather depressing. But also another one of those superficial, claptrap type holidays where it's like, oh, here, spend money on your better half and maybe they'll do something. And it's like, no thank you. Why should I go above and beyond for Valentine's Day when I could just do it for the other 364, 365 days of the year? It's like, why would you say 365? You do leap years, lads. Leap years. Those exist. So, kind of moving on from that subject, plus that, some of the commercials they play for Valentine's Day are just ridiculous. It's pretty much, it's not on the level of Christmas, but it's still kind of the same stuff, the whole commercialization of holidays. Now, outside of the religious observance of St. Valentine's, St. Valentine, I'm not going to get into that. That is a whole different topic in and of itself. But that's understandable. Which, even then, that is a saint. St. Valentine. I'm not going to get into any religious debates with anybody in the comments because I don't feel like it and nobody else feels like it. So we're going to move on to that. That discussion is not up for debate. It's not up for debate or discussion. Leave it. But there's always stuff to do on Valentine's Day, so I'm going to go to the rodeo. And then there's going to be an event at a comic shop that I frequently visit, so I'll be going to that afterwards. So it's like, I'm open to the idea of finding love again. So maybe I'll go to the rodeo and probably come back with a Latina Hello Kitty girl barrel racer. And yeah, I can hear some of the country boys and cowboys going, bro, no, don't joke about that. For those of y'all that don't know, barrel racers are massive red flags. They're crazy, insane. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about, especially if you did rodeo events. Then you know for a fact that barrel racers they're a handful. They're quite the handful. And some of y'all are like, and yet they're like, bro, you mentioned a Latina barrel racer specifically. Yes, that's the fun part. But why? But yeah, a Latina Hello Kitty girl barrel racer, as if I just gave a new horror nightmare. That's a thing, and I guarantee you they probably exist. If it sounds weird enough, it most likely exists. But I probably might come back with one of them, or one of them Navajo breakaway racers. I wouldn't mind. I'm also native. When it comes down to what I date, I'm not going to talk about that. But, I do have preferences, obviously. Most people do have a preference. I have mine. I'm not going to discuss it because that tends to attract weirdos. But, moving on to the comic book shop. Who knows? Maybe I'll go to the comic book shop and end up finding one of those nerdy book girls who's all up into some manga. And then at that point, it's like, well, you got to deal with that. Because, hey, we all know about them book girls. We all know. Book girls, on the other hand, for those of y'all that don't know, just read one of their books. You'll find out it's like you'll pick it up and go, this is some hub level stuff. What kind of stuff are you on? Yeah, some of y'all are sitting there, trust me, those of us that have dated book girls know how that is. I dated one and she's like, oh, just read one of my books. And I read it and I'm like, oh, you freaky on the down low. I didn't say that out loud. That's what I thought. And then it turns out she was, she was mad for it. She was mad. She was mad for I can't say the other half of it because YouTube would be mad, but if you ever played Grand Theft Auto 5, well, look up what Lamar said about Franklin's aunt. About his auntie. But, still, I can't mention that part on YouTube. YouTube will, I don't want to get canceled again. But, such as it is, I don't want to get canceled again, alright? So, moving on, Now, when it came down, let that sink in. It's like, what happened to you? It's like this. If I go missing sometime after Valentine, alright, look, I'll just put it like this. If I stop uploading videos, because I do tend to schedule out videos in advance in case something happens to me, that I can't be able to record, there'll be like about at least a month's worth of content made. So if I go missing, just note it that either some nerdy book girl got me, or the Latina Hello Kitty girl Bell Racer got to me first. And some of you are like, bro, you're playing with fire doing that. And it's like, well, if I play with fire and get burned, it's on me. But, just so you know, one of them probably got me. And I'm being held against my will. So, some of you are like, yeah, you held against your will. You willingly went along with it. Well, I'm not going to confirm or deny that. But, let's continue on. So, going on to school stories. By the way, I figured I want to make this clear. Do be careful about going to some of those singles events because you don't know what you're getting involved with. Do use some discernment because, some people do, some, and this is more geared towards dudes, whatever. To you dudes out there, do use common sense on Valentine's Day, especially going to these meetups. If you meet a girl and she's interested in a relationship, do use discernment and go through the motions to make sure, okay, I want to continue dating this one or, just calling it an end. And do be careful because some of them chicks that go to them things, they deserve to get them yams pounded out. I can hear get the yams pounded out. I can hear Diesel right now going, bro, not the yams. Anything but the yams. But, that type of stuff happens. Don't get mad at me. I'm only the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot me. I'm only the messenger. Get mad at the other person who said it. I heard it from somebody else and I thought it was funny. But, do use some type of discernment and do use common sense on Valentine's Day. And plus that, protection, lads. Use protection. But you shouldn't be doing that type of stuff anyway. That type of stuff has its own consequences, both spiritually, physically, and mentally. Because, if you lay up with the wrong person, and this goes for everybody, if you lay up with the wrong person, you will get their diseases, their demons, and their debt. How so? Well, what happens if you do the freaky, and then what happens? Boom, you automatically thinking about them, and then you say their name, and furniture starts floating. And you're wondering, why is my furniture floating? Why is a poltergeist in my house? And then you move on to other stuff, and now you got some disease you didn't even know about. And then you got unforeseen debt. It can happen. But still, use common sense. It will never steer you wrong. Just use common sense, alright? Point blank. For Valentine's Day, just use common sense. That's not open for discussion, but we're going to continue anyway. So, moving on to other stuff. Like school, like back in elementary, it used to bother me that I didn't get any Valentines, but, at this point, I'm like, nah, who cares? It's just a bunch of dumb stuff. There's a lot of stuff. There's still people holding on to some grudge from elementary school, and it's like, let it go. It makes no sense to hold on to it. It's elementary. It's a bunch of dumb crap that happens anyway. So, moving on, you did have stuff like, Valentine's Day and all that, but, I didn't care for it. Now, there was there was that one teacher that did make fun of me about it. She's like, oh, you didn't get nothing because you smell like your horse. And I said, yeah, at least it's better than smelling like cat pee. Best believe I was sitting in the principal's office over that, and the principal didn't do nothing. He just tore the write-up form up and said, just go back to class. I don't have time to deal with it. I said, okay, thank you. And he's like, don't do it again. So, kind of how that moved on. And there was... Now, there was a few... This is back in, like, junior high and high school, where, hormones start kicking your ass. There were a few girls that did like me, but I didn't think they did because, I thought they were just being nice to me, or they felt sorry for me because, I was getting picked on every other day of the week. So I was constantly fighting, I live in the South, and, most people, most jackasses down here, they can't seem to get the concept of, I whooped your ass once, leave me alone, and let me be. But they didn't get it. But I would get Valentine's Days for a few girls, a few Valentine's gifts from a few women. And the big one was, and these chicks all had something in common. Either one, they were weird, or two, they were from somewhere else, usually from a foreign country or out of state. Now, the weird comment's kind of subjective. It's kind of broad, kind of subjective. Well, they were kind of the weird chicks that they were into. They were kind of the honor girl students that, you wouldn't pay much attention to because they just look so plain. I just thought they, some people say weird, they were average looking. I'm not really sure how to describe it, all right? I'm just using some sort of euphemism to describe them because I thought they were weird. Plus that, there were a few girls that they did get mad at me because they were like the strange emo chicks from the trailer park. So some of them would honestly get mad at me because everybody be picking on them. And, it's like, I can't help you with that. You're on your own. People are picking on you over that sort of nonsense. That's a you problem. That's not my problem. They pick on me too. But there was this one chick, she was kind of the exception to the rule. She was a cheerleader. And, I didn't know she really liked me like that until her friend mentioned it to me in passing because, we ran into each other and her friend recognized me. But at this point, I had looked completely different. I had dreadlocks, which that actually is true. I had dreadlocks at the time. I don't have them anymore because I took them out. I figured, turn over a new leaf. The dreads have got to go. Maybe would I ever consider getting dreads again? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really know. But, that's beside the point. So she looks at me and she brings up that incident where to give you some context, I carried a Mountain Dew bottle to school. Just an unopened bottle of cold Mountain Dew because I needed something to get me through the rest of the school day because I had first block lunch. And, I had a class before choir, which was my fourth period class. And, the teacher didn't care if we brought drinks in anyway. And then there was, my third period class. So, third period, I'm sitting in class. And, the cheerleader would occasionally come up and speak to me here and there, I say occasion, but it was every day of the week. She'd just come up and speak to me. She walks up to my desk, and this is on a day where they were having the blood drive. And she was going to give blood that day. And she comes up to my desk. Because, she didn't have anything to drink. And they were like, oh, do you need something? She's like, oh, no, I got it. She walks up to my desk. And she says, hey, can I have a sip of your Mountain Dew? And I said, sure. Unopened bottle. She cracks it open. She doesn't waterfalls. She puts her lips all over it. And drinks from it. And you can imagine the reaction the class gave, because they all looked at me strangely. And they just gave me that look like, how dare you? And I'm just kind of like, okay, then this chick just drank from my Mountain Dew bottle, but I don't care at this point. So, I didn't know she liked me like that, but you know, it's like years later where someone just brings it up in passing. But she moved off afterwards, and there was this honor student that moved in not too long after she was gone. Now, this chick was very, she had the whole Nancy Drew thing going on. You know, she was very average looking, you know. Her family was decent. They were middle class, the standard middle class, average American family with conservative values. And by conservative, I mean kind of your standard TV family stuff like you would have saw like on the old shows on TV Land back in the day. You know. I did not know she liked me like that until, for some reason, she popped up in on my Facebook friends suggested. I'm like, oh, I remember her, the honors girl that I used to speak to back at school. So there was that, and I remember like I just clicked on a profile, you know, just being, you know, curious. And it's just nothing but pictures of her and, you know, like her dog. She liked dogs. And there was this one particular post that she made where she typed it out. And she was talking about she had a crush on this guy. And I'm reading it, and it gets to the part where it says, yeah, I have a crush on this rather cute native guy. I hope he notices me. You can imagine what sat in my head, and I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. It's me she's talking about. Well, obviously it is, because I was the only native kid at the school. So you can imagine the type of crap I got from some of those jackasses. Plus that, you know, being country, you know, that didn't play into any favors either. It's like, yeah, we're more country than you. I live on a farm. You live in a trailer park, alright? Alright, I have standards and morals. You act like common, everyday, old redneck trash. But, you know, still. There was that, you know, I was just kind of like, I'm an idiot. Now, there were like a few foreign exchange students that they would give me stuff for Valentine's Day. You know, the foreign exchange girls. There was one in particular, she was from like a Slavic country, but, you know, she would always talk to me and stuff, and there was this one instance where she did tell me something, but it was in a Slavic language. I didn't know what it meant until I got locked away for being stupid, which, you know, I was locked away in an insane home. And basically what this thing read out was, you know, like what she said, because like one of the guards actually spoke a little bit of Slavic, and when I told him what she said, he's like, oh, dude, she was in love with you. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me that. But by that point, it was over, said and done with, because at this point, I was going to be in there for quite a while. And it was already noticed that when I got out, I was going to go move away from that place. So, that was always the big things about it. And there was always like just little stuff like that. There was the black girl that was into anime that she would give me stuff too. But you know, that was also kind of an interesting one because I kind of figured out that she liked me like that, but I didn't like her like that in the same way. So you kind of see where that went. But, you know, still, there's always stuff to do in terms of Valentine's Day and all that. You know, regardless of how it is. You know, maybe some of you might have some funny stories about Valentine's Day, but, you know, please do continue that. If you got funny stories about Valentine's Day, then you can comment that down below, because I want to hear them. Because originally, me and Slay were going to do a Valentine's Day video where we did talk about our subscribers' funny stories involving Valentine's Day or breakups. Do keep it clean. Nobody wants to read no X-rated stuff. God forbid, no X-rated stories. Nobody wants to hear it. And if it does involve that thing, do keep it clean. But just make sure it's a funny story. All right, let's just leave it at that. Funny Valentine's Day stories. But I think the funniest thing I had ever seen on Valentine's Day was the time where I actually saw a guy get up and walk out of a restaurant. Because, the woman he was with, this bitch was toxic. She was constantly cussing and complaining the entire time. And he just said, oh yeah, I'm going to the bathroom, and I knew what he was about to do. So he went into the bathroom and he did not come out. Because he crawled out the bathroom door. He crawled out the bathroom window and took off. He walked right out of the bathroom window. He just crawled out of it and took off. That was the funniest thing I've seen, and I'm like, ha, that's what you get. Because, she was just berating this guy. Like, in the parking lot, when they got in there, she's complaining about everything and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know why my truck did that, because, hey, it was like, oh, I'm just driving along fine. Gee willikers, just a great day to be driving, and all of a sudden, random bump. I thought I hit a crackhead. But yeah, originally I was going to record this with live commentary, but for some reason the wheel kept resetting. Like throughout the whole time I kept recording, and this is why you see multiple different footage angles. Because every time I kept trying to record this video, like for some reason the wheel would reset, the controller would disconnect. Because that's how I used to turn my head through the camera. That's why I used to turn the camera, is the joysticks. And I was just like, oh, this ain't going to be good. So I decided, you know what, I'll just do it like this. I hope it works out that well. But the other thing is, it's kind of hard to gauge distances. Because to gauge in time differences, I should say. Because, there's some of this stuff in here that it will take you 2 hours just to do. You will be sitting in a cockpit for 2 hours driving a truck. Now, I wouldn't mind doing that if I was live streaming, but, I'm still trying to work out the kinks on that. Such as it is. But, yeah, Valentine's Day. I hope some of y'all are going to have a great day after that. And that sort of thing. And there is, just different stuff. For Valentine's Day. There's always stuff to do on Valentine's Day. I'm going to the rodeo plus some event at this comic store, this comic shop I normally visit. Hey, who knows? Maybe I'll come back with a Latina Hello Kitty girl bell racer or some nerdy book girl. But other than that, y'all shoot the like button with a grip skiddly if you enjoyed, and please do comment down below. Any funny stuff that has ever happened to you on Valentine's Day, a funny breakup, something like that, or just some asinine comment that your better half made to you on Valentine's Day, or some other sort of nonsense. So other than that, do smash the subscribe button today, and be sure to click the notification bell icon to stay up to date whenever I go live and whenever I upload videos, because I do upload videos daily, everything from shorts to GTA off-road reviews and, other stuff. I am going to try to make more videos like this where I just talk about, whatever comes to my mind. So, yeah. And, as always, y'all have a great day and a ballin' weekend, and remember, don't do anything stupid. Use common sense. It is Valentine's Day, because, if you don't use common sense, well, I'll be seeing y'all sometime later in 9 months. So other than that, y'all take care.